Good morning. This microphone is a little warm right now, and that's better. Welcome to both of you here in the sanctuary, and also online. I'm teasing. There's not only 2 people in the sanctuary. There's like 4. We have a good crowd. This is good. We are here for the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg. We're on the unceded ancestral lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole Native Americans, and my name is Ben Atherton Zeman. I am the minister here. My pronouns are he and them. This week is the anniversary of the Hiroshima bomb and the Nagasaki bomb. August 6th and August 9th, 1945 was the only time nuclear weapons were used in wartime or any time, and they were used by our country, the United States, against Japan. Deb Carlson has coordinated today's music, and I'm really excited for it. She will be performing alongside our wonderful Tim Berneman, our pianist, and I also get to lead worship alongside today's worship associate, Michael Pohl. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Ben. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. If you want a church that celebrates our differences, that finds unity in our shared values and experiences, and that places love at its center, I have good news for you. You may have found your church home.
Thanks, Michael. We have 2 announcements today. Well, 3, actually. The first one is Dwight Lawton's memorial, originally scheduled for this Friday here in the sanctuary, has been moved to a graveside service only. Now, all are welcome to the graveside service. It's happening at 10 a.m. at the Heartwood Preserve. That's 4100 Starkey Boulevard in Newport Richey. All are welcome, and if you want to carpool with me, I'll be going.
Our second announcement is from Chris McDonald. The LGBTQIA+ brunch is postponed to next Sunday. Same place and time due to the storm.
And finally, we do not have religious education teachers here today. I don't see any children either, so that's kind of a happy coincidence. So we will be an all-ages service today. As Unitarian Universalists, we are a people of diverse beliefs, but we share this common faith that every person is worthy of love, that what we do in this world matters, and that we're connected to one another and to the earth. So whoever you are and wherever you are in your journey, you are welcome here.
We want to give a special welcome to our dozens of newcomers. If you are new to UU St. Pete, or even relatively new, can you give a wave? Hey. So if you'd like, you can stand and raise your hand to briefly introduce yourself. Ben will bring the microphone to you so that those on YouTube can hear what you're saying. You are under no obligation to say anything, but if you're willing, we would love to hear from you.
You're already standing up. Nice to see you, Marty.
Hi, my name is Marty. This is my second time here. I really appreciate you letting me under your roof, especially in this circumstance. I like that music, Simon and Garfunkel. My brother had all the albums, and I know the lyrics, and I can sing like a bird. I was an a cappella choir in high school. Thank you, Pastor.
We'll need you for the hymns and their hymnals in front of you.
Well, we're very glad you're here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for silencing your cell phones. Regarding masks, if you'd like one, they are available at either entrance. UU St. Pete welcomes children and their unique energy. Welcome, children. Hey, y'all. Good timing. We welcome them to be with us for the start of our services, and we're going to keep them in the sanctuary today, correct? Because there are no teachers here today.
Right.
So, thank you and welcome. Wow.
Oh, it's me. I'm on the wrong side. This is the time in our service where we greet our neighbors. So please ask for consent if you want to hug or you want to shake hands. And if there's someone here that enriches your life in some way, let them know that. Please rise as you're willing and able for our first hymn. It's number 317 in the Teal hymnal. We are not our own. In the gray hymnal, that's what I meant to say. Standing for the lighting of the chalice as Morgan Gresham lights the chalice. I invite you to say our covenant out loud. It's in your program that you have in your hand if you're here. Online, it's in the virtual order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We have two children that I see, and we do have a time for all ages. Do you want to come forward, both children, or should we just say it from here? What do you want to do?
Shrug emoji.
From here it is. So this was I'm hearing a bit of feedback, and I'm thinking it's coming from the handheld, so I'm going to dip down the handhelds a little. I am both minister, worship leader, and sound engineer today, and I'll bring the handhelds back up when they're going to be used. Aaron arranged this time for all ages today. Yeah, that's not helping. Is that at a different angle? Can we just turn it down a little, just the volume of it? Yeah, turn it off. Oh, off is even better. Off should take care of it. Oh, you may be seated.
Oh, that's a
I'm sound engineer and choreographer. Aaron brought us this story. It's called The Red Bud Tree. It's been told in many ways, many places, and at many times. And our version today goes like this. In a land somewhat like this one, there was a loving family with 4 children. And they had heard the story of a tree that was unlike any tree they'd seen before. It was called a red bud tree. So they each wanted to see it. But they were a really busy family, and there was only one car, so parents took turns taking one child at a time when they were able.
The kids were so excited to see this tree, but they promised to each other that they would not spoil the surprise of seeing this amazing tree for the first time. So they promised to not talk about it with each other until everyone had a chance to see it.
Now, the oldest child went to the tree in early spring. The tree was still bare from winter and looked almost dead.
The next oldest child got to see the tree in late spring. The tree was covered with tiny green leaves and red buds.
And the next child got to see the tree in summers, covered in big green leaves, but no red buds.
And then the youngest child saw the tree in early fall. It was covered in bean pods, and the leaves were turning yellow.
So when the youngest came home, they were so excited to talk about the red bud tree together, but this excitement quickly escalated into an argument because they all thought their version of the tree was correct and the others were wrong.
Once the parents got everyone calmed down, they explained that everyone had seen the same tree at a different time of the year. Then the children understood and again began talking all at once. But this time it was happy sharing and excitement about the way the tree had changed and not arguing over who was right.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Aaron, if you're watching from home. Now, we had a food collection planned for Tuizer and his family, but it's going to be postponed till next week. But if any of you did bring food for Tuizer and Miriam, you can give it to me, or I think Bill. You can give it to Bill Motter, who is nodding and raising his hand right now. We have no RE teachers today, so we will not sing the song unless you want to. So we're going to go right to the joys, sorrows, and concerns. If you'd like to submit a joy, sorrow, or haven't yet, fill out a card. It's in the back of your pew. Bring it up to Michael or me, or give it to an usher to bring forward.
But please remember, this time is not for announcements, but for sharing what is on your heart. For those of you watching the live stream, please type your joys and concerns in the text box.
Now, right now, Bill's going to place a stone in the water for each one that was submitted this week. And the ripples emanating from these stones remind us that the impact of our lives can ripple through our community and the world. And our first is a stone of joy from Sabina von Alloch, from Sandy Weeks, from many others. Lauren Penny led us through the final hurdle of obtaining a commercial license for our kitchen, and that license was obtained. Thank you so much, Lauren. Very excited. Now, I know there were a lot of other folks to thank, and we actually had a surprise. We were going to celebrate you during coffee hour, but we want to do that next week when there are more people here.
Next, we have a stone of joy from Trish Birch. Trish says, "My amazing dog Maybelline earned her Master Jumper title on Saturday. We are a great team."
Maybelline. I have no cards, do you?
I have one. I have a stone of joy and concern from Earl. "My cousin Stephen was bike riding on Friday, fell and broke his hip. Surgery went well, he is home, but please send positive healing energy his way.
All right. So let's hold Stephen close to our hearts. I'm going to say let's hold the Hibakusha in our hearts. The Hibakusha are the people who survived Hiroshima and Nagasaki, also the communities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This week there will be celebrations of peace and a marking of the anniversary. Also a pledge to work for a world free of nuclear weapons. There are those known and unknown among us who face challenges, who face health concerns. So please join us for our responsive reading. It's written by John Motter.
May our hearts not become calloused by the never-ending incidences of oppression and hatred that so many face each day.
Rather,
may we keep our hearts open to the positive efforts of so many people causing good trouble in the world.
May we have the strength to demand and gain the right for all people to have a safe place and dry place to sleep, health care to keep them strong, and knowledge that their lives matter. The struggle is taking longer than it should, but we will get there if we continue to strive for basic human rights.
May all of us find a comforting and compassionate presence in the warmth of fellowship and community. And we will place the final stone for those joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts, perhaps too tender to be spoken out loud.
The mystery is that we are connected even when we feel apart. So let's rejoice in this beloved community that makes of the many one. And let's take about a minute of silence together. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, spring set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
I've been involved in a lot at UU St. Pete. Buildings and grounds, religious education, covenant groups, communications, worship, and more. Reflecting back, I see three very different patterns in my involvement. First, I think of groups like the Handbell Choir. I've been in the Handbell Choir since its inception almost 15 years ago, and I still look forward to every practice and performance. Each time we meet, I can set aside the stresses of my day for a short period of time, be in community with my friends in the choir, and experience the joy of hearing our individual bells build a song. There's no explicit exploration of UU principles, no lighting of a chalice. We just ring some bells and have fun together. Next, I think of behind-the-scenes work in roles like financial secretary, newsletter editor, and clerk. This work is mostly in isolation, and usually the only attention I draw is when I screw something up. But that's fine with me. It's work that needs to be done, and it feels good to contribute in a quiet way. The third type of involvement differs radically from the first two, and really from any experiences I've had outside of this church. Very early in my membership, Reverend Manish Mishra invited me to join the Committee on Ministry. The Committee on Ministry's mission was to assess and share how we as a congregation were doing. But what stood out most for me was not the work we did for the church, but how we first and foremost ministered to each other. Each meeting, before tackling any other agenda items, we had a lengthy check-in where each of us in turn shared what was most on our minds and in our hearts since our last meeting. This check-in was not cursory or trivial. It was core to our time together. It was my first experience with the practice of deep listening, and it made a lasting impact on me. My usual interactions with others were guarded. This was a level of trust and care that I typically didn't allow myself to give or to receive. Several years later, I attended a session at General Assembly that presented a challenge. What if, at every committee meeting, the primary order of business was not to work through agenda items? What if the primary order of business was to take care of each other? What would that look like? For me, this is the challenge at the heart of holistic ministry.
This is a song by Joy Ladakun, again.
When the light is gone and you're on your own, you've been trying but the fire never goes away, and you don't know when the sun will shine again. All you gotta do is look my way. If you got a problem, I got a problem too. If you're standing at the bottom, I'll reach out for you. If you need someone to lean on, baby, I can be strong. I will carry you through. If you got a problem, I got a problem too. Everybody needs something to believe. If you want, you can always put your faith in me. I don't know it all, but I know how it feels to fall. With a helping hand, you'll find your feet. If you got a problem,
Thank you, Deb. If you've got a problem, I've got a problem too. What I'm going to say for the reflection, I don't know if I've ever said this or if some of you have noticed it, and apparently my predecessor used to do this too. It evolves like right up to the moment of I get up here, and I'm very shaped by the words that I just heard you sing. To me, that is a wonderful way to talk about interconnection and love, two of our main values. And then Michael's question at the end of his Time for All Ages, or his view from the pew, what if the primary order of business was to take care of each other? What would that look like? So today's topic is called Siloed versus Holistic Ministry, and it follows last week's All Ages service, Caring for Our Relationships, and the Brave service from the week before, Caring for the Caregiver. Now I want to pick up on this theme of caring, and I want to use Michael's challenge from that General Assembly workshop. I know this room is full of people who care because you showed up despite that there was a tropical storm outside. You care about one another. You care about this congregation. You care about this community and this world. And hopefully you care about yourself as well. If you've chosen to tune in via YouTube Live, that's showing up. It'd be easier in some ways to just look at the Weather Channel, but here you are. You've shown up. You are with us. Your presence is felt, even if you're not here in person. And some of you show up to church in very particular ways. You come because of the social justice. You come, and then if you're here because of the social justice, maybe you tolerate the spirituality and the music, or maybe you come primarily for the music, he said, looking at Deb, and maybe you tolerate my reflections, I don't know, or the other things, but you have a thing that you do, and that's your primary reason for being here. You might be an active member of a committee or a team. And for some of us, our role becomes the primary reason for us to show up. Now, Todd Wellman isn't here this morning, but he led this amazing church retreat last year, and I know some of you were there, urging us to move beyond our roles and make human connections with one another. But some of us are here primarily because we're doing hospitality, or we're singing in the choir, or we take care of the building as part of the Buildings and Grounds team. And some don't even come on Sunday. And this might be because you can't. You might be homebound. Some of us attend a covenant group, or a discussion group, or the meditation group, and rarely show up on Sundays. Let me be clear, this is fine with me. I don't take it personally, and as a denomination, we're being challenged to look beyond Sunday mornings as the centerpiece to worship. So if someone finds a church home here and rarely comes on Sundays, I count that as a win. And you are more than welcome. It's also fine with me if your primary identity is as a member of X, Y, and Z, the Religious Education Committee, Buildings and Grounds, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, or your covenant group. If that works for you, that's beautiful. That's wonderful. I've had some hard conversations this week for folks who don't have a religious home, who don't have a church home at all. If you have one, mazel tov. And since one of my jobs is to provide both comfort and challenge, let me gently push you a little. The worship team, and primarily Morgan and I, came up with this particular topic because we see a historical pattern here at UU St. Pete. We think it helps if, so in the past, there's been like one person who knows how to do something. And if that person's not there, something doesn't get done. So we think it's helpful if multiple people have expertise on things. So for example, if Robert's the only one who knows how to live stream the worship service and He isn't, by the way. There's others. Thanks, Kathy, for volunteering to do that. But then if he becomes our treasurer like he did, or he, doesn't feel well, maybe he might feel pressured to come in when it doesn't make sense for him to come in. Or if only one of us knows how to light the pilot light on the stove, it's a complicated pilot light, they have to be there every time the stove is used. Now, fortunately, we are growing in numbers, and we're being joined by folks who have expertise and willingness to help. We have a new lead greeter today. Thank you for being today's lead greeter. So, siloed ministry, holistic ministry. It's not an obvious answer. Siloed ministry bad, holistic ministry good. Staying in that safer silo can be a trauma response. We identify ourselves with that essential role. We take pride that we're the only one who knows how to light the stove or run the live stream. Or we find this safer and smaller group where we know the people, where we love the people. Maybe they look like us. Maybe they act like us. Maybe we have a gate around our community. In this world full of trauma and pain, finding safer spaces is no small feat. And when we venture beyond a safer silo, it's difficult. It's much easier to get along and work together with a handful of people that look like us and act like us than it is with 160 of us. Connecting with the congregation as a whole invites more opportunities for conflict, for pain, and more opportunities for growth, more opportunities to build our community and your community, more opportunities to give and receive love. Marge Piercy urges us to love with the hands wide open, love with the doors banging on the hinges, the cupboard unlocked, the wind roaring and whimpering in the rooms, rustling the sheets and snapping the blinds that thwack like rubber bands in an open palm. Good wind images for the tropical storm this morning. But again, opening ourselves in this way makes us vulnerable. Reverend Molly Hoosh Gordon says that loving is one of the most terrifying things to do. When we love someone or something, we know that pain and loss are 100% guaranteed at some time, one way or another. But Reverend Molly says this is the tension between a love for our families that battens down the hatches and a love for our humanity that lets others in to shelter with us. Reverend Molly says at the macro level, the difference between that anxious and fearful love and the courageous love has big consequences. It can mean the difference between cruel border policies and welcome to migrants, between sticking with our international allies or abandoning them to invasion, between peace and war. Now, this discussion brings to mind three of our UU values: love, interconnectedness, and pluralism. I've talked about love a bit and interconnectedness, but pluralism is an interesting one, and I think a good example, theologically consistent with what we've been talking about. We welcome those with strong religious beliefs. We welcome those who are searching. The ones with strong religious and theological beliefs, it works better if they're not exclusive beliefs. I believe my way and is the only way. That doesn't work so well. So if my way is humanism, I'm staying in my UU humanist silo. If I'm going to stay there, I hopefully will also go to the Seder. I hopefully will also go to a cups celebration, the covenant of UU pagans. So the silos can be useful, safe spots, but so is the interconnected whole. It's not an either or, it's a both and. Yesterday at Morgan and Michael's, we almost came up with a mathematical formula for helping new folks integrate into the congregation. And it's good that there are a couple of new folks here. First, take the new member class, which the rest of them knew that. Second, if they find some kind of place where they can feel welcomed, be a greeter, get a covenant group, be on a committee. And then there's a third one, and Michael referred to this when he talked about the moment where he joined the Committee on Ministry. The third step is having a second commitment, and a commitment to a wider commitment. They can always continue as greeters or bell ringers, and as Michael's example, but then they also become a part of the wider community. Take that risk, network more, develop bonds with the larger group. Resmaa Menakem, in his book My Grandmother's Hands, which some of you have read, My Grandmother's Hands, one of you has read, says, when your body has an emotional response, such as when your stomach clenches, your pulse races, your shoulders tighten, your breathing quickens, your body braces for impact, or you have a sense that danger is lurking, that's your soul nerve at work. When your body feels relaxed, feels open, feels settled, and in sync with other bodies, that's your soul nerve functioning. Menakem says you can learn to work with your soul nerve. With practice, you can begin to consciously and deliberately relax your muscles, settle your body, and soothe yourself during difficult or high-stress situations, such as exposing yourself to outside your comfortable silo. I said before that one of my jobs is to provide both comfort and challenge. Well, when do I decide to do the challenge or the comfort? Now, I tend to emphasize comfort for those who are part of marginalized groups. BIPOC folks. You remember BIPOC as Black, Indigenous, people of color. LGBTQIA+ folks. And for those who are cisgender, for those who are white, I encourage them to lean into the challenge a bit more. Comfort, still important. Lean into the challenge. Because historically, siloing has been used by those in power to keep others in their silos, in the margins. Our former president this week said that our current vice president should choose whether she is Indian or Black. As it turns out, you can be both. Turns out she is both. Turns out she can't be kept in one silo. And many this week said that Algerian boxer Imane Khelif should be disqualified from the Olympics. Some accused her of being a man. But it turns out she's a woman. She just doesn't fit a lot of the femininity stereotypes that have silenced women for generations. Our wider culture has a lot of this racist, misogynist, transphobic dog whistling. And in this denomination, in this congregation, we can do better. Reverend Molly says our collective capacity for a generous love may mean the difference between millions of climate refugees dying or finding room in the abundance of our wealthy nation. It may mean the difference for our survival as a human species. And even if we see the red bud tree differently than our siblings do, we can listen and be curious when they tell us their different perspective. We can celebrate the evolution of things and rejoice in our multiple perspectives instead of arguing for our own, because we center love, because we believe in pluralism, because we are interconnected. If you got a problem, I got a problem too. If you're standing at the bottom, I'll reach out for you. If you need someone to lean on, baby, I can be strong. I will carry you through. If you got a problem, I got a problem too. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
Thanks, Ben. Oh.
1 second, sorry. There you are.
Thanks, Ben. We eat fruit from trees planted long before we were born. May we plant seeds that will bear fruit long after we are gone. In the sanctuary, the offering will now be given and received.
Please rise as you're willing and able for our closing hymn. It's number 1008. This time it is in the teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes. That our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart
is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. We are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place. When we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. We are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. Please remain standing for our chalice extinguishing as Morgan extinguishes our chalice. The words to our traditional challengers extinguishing are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. You may be seated for the postlude.
Thank you. Please join us for our coffee hour in Gilmore Hall. Our worship is over, but our service begins. We hope this time together will help you through your week and will help you remember you are not alone.
Gilmore Hall's that.